Alright, we're going to start this build off. Chapter 4. First 3 chapters are normal stuff. Nobody pays much attention to anyway. What tools you're going to need, what's in the box, warranty, stuff like that. Chapter 4 is where the build starts. We're starting with bags 1, bag 1A, bag 1C, and tray 2. I'll pull those parts out and we'll be back. Okay, here's the parts for the first steps here, building the frames. Bag 1 has got our frame standoffs, screws, washers, looks like a couple of grommets. Bag 1A is going to be our frames. Bag 1C is more of the frame stuff, the plastic supports and whatnot inside. These are kind of cool. I like this. I like this new design that they've done. We'll see how it turns out. And then out of tray 2 we have this guy here, and that's our battery hold-in deal for the quick release on the battery. So we'll see how that goes in there and see what it looks like. Okay, for the first step here, we're going to be using the one frame side, the battery block, they're calling it, which is so we have the quick release for our sliding battery tray, and then a 2 by 5 millimeter button head cap screw. And that's going to key into the frame there. And I already got Loctite on our screw. As always, we've got to make sure and have Loctite on everything. Okay. Get that lined up. Okay, and then like I said, from the outside, it looks like you'll be able to grab that, pull on it to release the battery. Pretty straightforward. Okay, and the next step here, they're going to have us installing 6 frame spacers, which are these guys here. There's number 6. In the plastic frame sections. Zoom out here. And these are just going to slide in. Looks like they slide all the way through. Like so. And then it looks like they're going to have us join the 2 frame halves together and then bolt the carbon frame plates onto the whole assembly. So I'll get one side of that done and then we'll review. Okay, so what I ended up doing, as it was getting to be a little tricky getting everything to line up without the supports falling out on me, I actually left the plastic portion off. Ran the bolts through the frames with Loctite into all the standoffs. Then I slid the plastic section on and then snugged everything down. It actually specifically talks about in the manual leaving these 2 back bolts loose for now. I'm not sure why just yet, but when I come upon when to tighten them, I'll be sure to note that and let you guys know. One thing to note, just putting this half of plastic piece on this frame side really stiffens this frame up. There was some concern online. Guys were thinking, oh man, the frames are going to be too thin. You know, everybody's worried about the frames being too thin. But you know what? The support in these Goblins comes from the transmission, not from the frames. So it's actually surprising how stiff this is with this plastic added in here. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, with that frame side done, just a matter of lining up all the support pieces with the other plastic section, sliding everything together. There are little tabs in this section here, and one each in here and here to help key everything together and line it up. So now we got the plastic portion of the frame installed in one frame half. We'll get the other frame half back on, or the other frame half added, and then we'll be back. Okay, there we have it. Both frame halves installed. Center frame section in place. Correction to what I had said a minute ago when I installed the first frame half. I had mentioned the manual said do not tighten these two bolts back here. It actually says do not install these two bolts back here. I went to put on the other frame half and I only had 4 screws, and I thought, well geez, I need 6. Am I missing screws or what? Went back to the manual, sure enough it explained it right there. It's actually circled in nice big bold red print. So just a note, like I said, do not install the 4 very back frame bolts. And there you have it. Frame. Also, another nice feature I wanted to mention, these frames are identical from the left to the right. If you look here on the right side frame, we have our quick release for our battery. On the left hand side of the frame, it's got our holes and the groove already machined in there, ready to go. So in the event of a crash, you break one half of the frame, I'm guessing when the parts are released, Goblin's going to be selling these singles or pairs, which will be nice. That'll keep the cost down. However, man, I don't know, this thing's stiff. Going to be pretty tough, I think. Alright, on to the next page. You'll note we're still in Chapter 4, carbon frame. Also in bag 1 was bag 1B, which is our landing gear. And bag 1C obviously was our plastic frame section and our plastic mounts for the landing gear. Okay, here we're going to be working with the landing gear and what the manual is referring to as a landing gear support, self-tapping screw and a finishing washer. On these plastic parts like this, I like to run the self-tapping screws in once just to start the threads. They can be kind of hard to start sometimes. Makes it easier instead of trying to hold 3 pieces together at once. So that's going to line up there, that slot in the carbon. You can kind of see, get that on the camera. And then the screw is going to go in through the center of that guy. Like so. On these plastic parts, it's not a bad idea to add a drop of CA. Keep that screw from backing out. This threaded in really tight. I'm probably going to leave it for now. If I notice it becoming loose, I'll add a drop of CA later on. Okay, so the manual only has us install the front landing gear support. The rear is left separate. Okay. The way this block is set up, it actually keys into the plastic frame section and slides in and locks into place like so. Okay, and on the rear, excuse me, I found it easiest just to start at an angle, which the camera probably isn't picking up very well. I'm not lining up very well. And then it slides in place. The landing gear itself will key into that piece on both sides, and then we'll install our self-tappers, which, like I said, I've already pre-threaded to make it a little easier. Careful not to over tighten and then strip it with plastic. That's always something that scares me. Then you're for sure going in with the super glue. Like I said earlier, these are threading in really tight. It helped to pre-thread them. If they do back out over time, like I said, I won't be afraid just to add a drop of CA. That'll really lock the self-tapping screw into the plastic. And there you go. We have the frame mounted to the landing gear. Starting to look like something. Like a Goblin, baby. Okay, the final step in the assembly of our carbon frames is installing this rubber grommet into this hole. The boom has dimples on it, and that's going to align with these rubber grommets once the boom bolts into the frames. Definitely different than the 630, the 700, the 770s. Should be interesting to see how that works. I myself have trouble installing rubber grommets. They just always seem to fight me. I think this step may have been a little easier before the frames were all together. We'll see how it goes in there and see what it turns out like. I'm not real happy about this. I don't know. I just got troubles with rubber grommets. Okay, they're in. It didn't go terrible, but like I said, I don't know. Me and grommets just don't get along. Canopy grommets, frame grommets, doesn't matter. This does talk about in the manual to glue these in place. I don't know. I'm afraid that I'm going to get glue on here and it's going to run down my frames and look terrible. I might try a drop inside. The boom's not going on and off a lot like a canopy would be, and you'd want to glue a canopy grommet in place. So again, I might just skip the glue here. Personal preference, I would suggest following the manual. Again, me and grommets don't get along, so that's the biggest reason for that. Me not wanting to put the glue on there and mess with those grommets too much. So I'll leave it like this for now, and hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, I'll add the glue later and hope for the best. Alright, well there it is. That concludes what the manual is calling Chapter 4, Carbon Frames. The assembly of the carbon frames, the landing gear, the frame supports, the center frame section, where our batteries will slide into, our tail servo will mount. Pretty straightforward. I had just a little trouble at first getting all the frame supports in place and trying to get the screws and everything lined up right away. But like I said, what I did was I ran the screw through the frame into the support, then slid the plastic on over that. Once I did that, everything lined up really quick. Not too much trouble at all. And then of course, my nemesis, the rubber grommet. But thanks for watching, and the next chapter will be Chapter 5, Transmission Assembly. That is going to be fun. Can't wait.